So this will be lesson 3 of PED fencing, beginning fencing. What's going to happen now with this lesson is going to get to the more normal structure. There'll be a shorter than the last video lesson. I'll be doing to show you some moves, and then you'll be able to go on the top hat and should then have some other stretching or other exercises or other drills that will reinforce the footwork and that type of thing. And then maybe another little drill or two that will help, reteach the footwork from somebody else's perspective, or reinforce some moves once we've gotten to that point. So this is the 3rd lesson. First thing I want you to do is just stand up and do whatever I do. I'm right-handed functionally, and so if I do something with my right hand and you're right-handed, you'll want to use your right hand and your right foot like I do. If you're left-handed, you're going to want to reverse everything. So, okay, so, should have been following along with me, didn't say anything, so you're learning to just do things by mirroring what I do. Where I ended up is what's called en garde. En garde is the beginning position in fencing. 2 French words, E-N-G-A-R-D-E. In English it means en garde. Works out really well. So, to get en garde, and I'll do it from the side view, you're going to want your feet approximately shoulder width apart. As you stay with fencing and go ahead and develop your own style, you will see that there are some fencers maybe a little bit closer than shoulder width. Some fencers will be out wider. This is a good beginning position. You can see my feet are perpendicular. Heels should be right in line. Knees are bent. Front knee is over the front toe, back knee is over the back toe. The sword arm is going to have my elbow about a fist to a fist and a half away from my body. The arm should be parallel to the ground. Hand should be turned at about a 45-degree angle. Shoulders should be fairly flat. The back arm has a couple of options. The classical way of fencing is to put the arm back up like this. More modern way, you just let it hang down here. Thing you have to watch out about with the more modern way is that there's a tendency to let the arm swing, and you don't want to put your arm in front of your body because it'll get hit. And it's also a penalty because you're blocking the opponent from hitting your legitimate target. So you're about like this. Okay, so what things look like in front. You can see the hand is out here to the side. You don't want it in front of the body. Just to let you know, a lot of times when I'm demonstrating, I'll do things classically, but when I'm actually competing, I go to this. Just a habit I have. To move, One of the things you will find out about fencing, if you visit all over YouTube and everything, the terminology is not 100% consistent. Different nationalities, different schools of fencing. You'll have a problem sometimes where you'll find that people will call the same move something different, or in a few cases, you'll see them do entirely different things and call it the same thing. So if you visit other websites and everything while you're trying to learn about this, don't expect everybody to call everything exactly what I call it. To move forward, it's what I call an advance. Some people just say step forward, some people say march. It's actually not very complicated. I'm on guard, I take an advance. So, what did I do? I took a small step. Fencers take lots of fast, small steps. If I take a really big step, leaves myself very open to getting hit. Right? I'm up in the air, my opponent knows I can't do much until I come down. It's a great time to attack. So I want to take a small step. It's a lot faster, and I'm right back and on guard. So I take, a lot of people say like a 6 to 8 inch step. I land on the heel. As my foot is going down, the other foot comes up. So again, an advance, advance, advance. So, for the purposes of these videos, what you might want to do now is pause your video and do maybe 5 advances forward. Nice, easy tempo so that you're in control of it. And then just turn around and 5 advances back. And just do that a few times so you're comfortable with it. And then come back and do it. Okay, so we've done advance. So now we're going to do retreat. Retreat is when I want to get away from my opponent. I reach back with my back foot, land on the ball of my foot, and again, as the foot goes down, the other foot comes back. Distance should be just about the same as what you did for an advance. So if I advance and I retreat, I should be pretty close to the same position where I ended up. So, as you did before, do 5 retreats. And go ahead and do a turn around and keep going the other way. A couple of things on the advance and the retreat. Nothing above your waist should be moving. So this should be pretty still up here. Let the legs do all the work. Go ahead and stop your video and do some retreats. There are other ways to move forward in battle, and these are called crossover steps. Crossover steps are a little more complicated. And again, you will find different coaches teach these a little differently. I am not a my way or the highway type person, so if you find a different video and the person does it a little differently and that works for you, I'm perfectly fine with that. going to do is we're going to do a forward crossover, but we're going to start with the back foot. And all you're going to do is slide this back foot around in front of the front foot, and then bring the front foot back, and now you're back to on guard. So a forward crossover. The big thing to watch out for is don't actually turn and take a step. You're just going to slide the foot here, and then back on guard. So a few forward crossovers. And now, we're going to do rear crossovers. So you're going to start here, same on guard position, take the front foot, and you're going to pass it behind your back foot. Watch it from the front. Here's a forward crossover. And rear crossover. And again, don't swing your body when you do these. Go ahead, pause the video, do a few forward crossovers and a few rear crossovers. When you actually want to hit someone, we're going to do a move called a lunge. This is actually a more complex move than anything that we've done so far. You're in on guard. Your front foot should be pointed right toward your opponent. And you're going to be extending your arm. That extension gets you the right of way that allows you to hit your opponent. So hopefully I've extended my arm first, the referee sees that, and he knows that I can now finish my attack. So I start my extension. When it's about half to 2/3 of the way out, I'm going to start a long step forward. If I'm fencing classically when I do this, I'm going to let my arm fall back down this way. I'm going to extend and lunge. And I'm going to try to end up with my knee right over my front ankle. This is extremely important because knees are the thing that are most likely to be injury resistant and can really slow you down if you've thrown a knee out. So you want to make sure that you don't push too far forward with your knee. You can start feeling the stress that puts on your knee if you do that. And you don't want to not go out far enough with your knee. Because standing like this, you can feel the stress on your ankle. When you're standing upright, where's the spot for your knees? It's right over your ankles. That's the best natural position for it. So here, I start my extension. I walk. Where do I want to be? This front leg, front thigh, in a textbook lunge will be pretty well parallel to the floor. My body should be centered, right here. Shouldn't be leaning forward. A lot of people do that, think, oh, I get extra distance, but you can see how much of the target you brought towards your opponent. Also, if you're centered here, I can go forward. This is called, forward recovery, or I can do the more common, just recovery. So if I'm centered, I can get out of this lunge quickly. Again, if I'm doing it classically, I extend, and I just let this arm fall back. I don't throw it. I want to be careful not to throw it this way. As you can see, it'll cause my arm to move out of the way there, and I'm here. Back leg should be straight. This is the leg is doing a lot of propelling you forward. This leg is pulling you. This leg is pushing you. You want to try to use both legs and the muscles in both legs to make your lunge go as far as you can. And if you do, you can see that you will actually propel yourself a few inches across the floor. So snapping this leg right after this leg has started helps push you across the floor. And you should land the lunge. To get out of it, you unlock this back leg and push back up. And you should end up right back in your on guard position. If you're leaving your leg down here or your arm down here, it's just extension that way. And the arm just stays out of the way. And you can come back. In the front, hopefully, you're going to be lunging straight. You don't want to lunge off to one side or the other. So here, you start your extension, and you lunge. And then to recover, you go back to lunge. So again, a forward recovery. I'm going to lunge, and then I'm going to do it forward. Still end up in on guard. Use a forward recovery. My opponent's retreated, not doing anything back at me. And he's running away. I'll get back up here and I'll chase him down. A couple of other things that we can do is some people do incredibly small advances and retreats. So they do a half advance or a half retreat. So instead of even a regular size advance, it's half as small. Pretty easy to go. What you want to do, again, practice sets of like 5 of these, 5 half retreats. Just need half advances. 5 half retreats. Practice 5 lunges. And recover. And a lunge. And recover. A couple of things. Ladies, your knees are built differently than guys' knees. So it is even more important for you to make sure that when you lunge, that knee is right there. So, protect your knees and recover. And that's the end of the third lesson.